VoyMonk here, vlog number 67. Perception. I think along with this week, talking about the here and now and asking better questions. And yesterday I mentioned about time. I think the thing that for me naturally comes after that is perception. Because I'm honestly believe that perception is probably one of the most important things in our lives individually, at least for myself. I think the term that often gets mentioned nowadays more than I've ever heard it in the past is, and at least the description of what I'm talking about a little bit, and the way it's described is something along the lines of main character syndrome, where a person's perspective oftentimes determines their reality. The perception of time, as I've mentioned yesterday, I think really has a lot to do with how we behave and how we interact with others. Now, of course, it is a selfishness, I think, from an objective standpoint, from the outside looking in, but I think also from my perspective and the only perspective that I can have, which is mine. Whatever I feel, whatever I think, whatever might be something that I understand, that really is, in the end, for me, locally, to myself, limited to that. Meaning, for example, when I shut my eyes, when I look at the world, I'm seeing it from a perspective of myself. And so, as far as, for example, time that I mentioned yesterday, sometimes a day, a minute, a second can vary in terms of how long it may be or how quick it may go by. I think what I put my effort and time into often, and I should say my passion into, I think those things ultimately always come back to me, my perspective. And whether you believe that this is it, once we close our eyes for the final time, that's all we're going to experience, or maybe you believe in something else afterwards. I think truth to me, at least from my perspective, which doesn't mean that it's correct. It doesn't mean that I'm right no matter what I do. The fact is that when that happens, the only other person that's going to have that reality and that perspective is me. And I think, and I'm certainly not trying to be too existential or too deep with this one. This is a vlog, and I understand that this week the general overall theme that I wanted to hit on hopefully doesn't come off as generic or anything like that. It's just these are the things that I'm honestly thinking about at this time in my life, and looking at the present here and now, as well as the things that have come before, and the anticipation and the anxiety about what I have or I feel about tomorrow. And I don't dwell on these things. I don't particularly see them as overall positive or negative. It's just that I think it's worth considering because, at least for myself, I believe in doing unto others as I'd have done unto me. I do believe in the golden rule. I do believe in trying to be as best as I can to who I can when I can for as long as I can. But I do think that when it comes to appreciating the time, that I talked about this week and asking better questions. I think perspective is definitely one of those things that's very, very important. And if I can appreciate that for myself, then when I look into those around me, I can also appreciate that in those terms that everyone has their own perspective. And that, for good or bad, is knowledge as far as working in the here and now. Being in the present is something that I try to keep in mind in terms of how I react to life and those around me. I think that it helps right now. I could be wrong, but that's definitely what I wanted to say on this vlog number 67. And yeah, until next time, take care.